Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Insecure Season 5. I think this is Episode 6. Tired, okay? All you guys' show is just dragging. I'm gonna be so glad when the show is over. I hate that I have to say this about a show that I've loved for many years, but you can tell Issa's heart is just not in it. Like, what is this we watching? Oh, I'll be so glad when it's over. Anyway, you guys, I hate to say it, but somebody had to say it. Child, we just trying to get to the end. That's all. Anyway, the review. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, so remember last week, Issa was at the hospital and Condola and Lawrence was there with the baby for a checkup. And so last week she walked by, but this week she decided to come back. And before they walked off to their office visit, she was like, wait, So she walks up to him and, they're all just sort of like, so now this is weird. And she was like, can we please not make this weird? Okay, no more weirder than it already is. And so she looks over at the baby and she's like, he's cute. He is a cute little baby. And Condola was like, would you like to hold him? I was like, girl, would you better than me? You'd have been looking at him cute right up in that stroller. But, Issa was like, yes. So she picks up the baby and she's holding him. And I'm still telling you guys, I'm just heartbroken that her and Lawrence didn't make it. But anyway, then she goes into a definite dreams when she throws the baby and then she kicked damn Condola. I said, oh yes, we definitely is dreaming now. Although that's what she wishes she could do. Okay, when Lawrence tried to come, you want some too? No, girl, keep your foot and your throwing arm over there. But so that's kind of how she felt about that. When she goes back home, though, she's going on social media. She goes onto his Instagram page and she sees a picture of him and the baby. And it looks like he's moved back to LA. She was like, he's moved back? He hadn't reached out. They hadn't talked. Like, I don't know what this means. But that's okay. She's still with her man, Nathan. We see him in the bed. They having sex. Okay, one of those infamous insecure sex scenes that we usually get. She's trying to get the L word out of him. Remember, she told him last week that she loved him. And of course, he did not answer her back. So while they having sex, listening for the L word, no, he doesn't say it. Afterwards, post-coital, laying around talking, he still doesn't say, I love you. Okay? And even though she's fishing for it, she doesn't just plain out ask him, is he going to tell her that? She's just like, okay, well, no biggie. But you can tell it bothers her. But whatever. She's, helping Molly with her family because Molly is still working. Because Issa is her own business person, she can kind of make her own hours. So she's at the hospital. She's bringing food to the family, and she's doing well. Now, Molly is, I think she's either out of town or, away at a business function. So she's not able to be there, of course. Molly's still trying to hold up her job, still trying to be there for her parents, her family, and all of that. It's just a whole bunch. So she calls Issa on FaceTime and she's telling her how she feels guilty that she's not there. And Issa was like, girl, don't worry about it. Like, I got it here. I'm getting your family food and all of this. And, Curtis is here, which, she kind of has a little crush on, obviously. And Molly was like, girl, don't try to fuck my brother. Okay, he has herpes. I was like, you're terrible. But Molly don't have to worry because Issa's with Nathan now. Now, later on, we see Issa and Koya. They're out. They're trying to drum up business. They're in the neighborhood. They're going to talk to businesses, talking about NBW, Nothing But Water, and how they're willing to sponsor, some of these businesses, how they are there to try to spread the love. And once they find out who Issa and Koya are you from the block? And she was like, yeah. And they was like, oh, you was the one that helped Crenshaw do that that fashion show that he had, right? And she was like, yeah. And they were like, yeah, we don't think maybe you're not the one for us. Now, of course, what Crenshaw said on her social media is not helping at all. So it's a problem. She was just like, well, how can we try to fix this? And they were like, yeah, we don't think you're the one for us. Basically, like, no, we ain't doing shit with you. So Issa goes to Crenshaw because she's trying to work this whole thing out. She cannot move forward her business if he's on social media dragging her and everything. So she shows up at his place of business. She's got Danishes, brownies or whatever, pastries, and she's trying to, extend the olive branch of friendship. And, they all kind of like, oh, you here, and then when Crenshaw finally sees her, he ain't trying to let up. He was just like, you know, you was so busy looking out for your money, you was not trying to see my vision. Okay, you didn't stand up for me. You just went on ahead with what those people said, and he was mad about it. He said, and then instead of apologizing, you get into my DMs with the bullshit and say all this crazy stuff to me. And so, yeah, so basically Crenshaw was still don't see it for Issa. And, you know, she's telling him how she can't move forward her business if he's out there still saying bad things about her. But Crenshaw is just sort of like, oh, well, you know, you didn't apologize. You just kind of went on and did what you did. So I guess Crenshaw did what he did too. So I don't know if Crenshaw is going to finally back off, because they didn't really come to no agreement whether or not they were going to stop, you know, if Crenshaw was going to stop bad mouthing her out on social media. So we'll see what happens there. Now, jumping over to Molly. Molly, like I said, is out at this business function, and it's like a mixer, okay, the night before with the partners at the law office that she works for. And, you know, they're just kind of sitting around enjoying each other's company. Molly and another guy are the newbies, you know, so we got to break them in. You know, they tell them how they didn't really like Molly at first, which we already knew that. But now they like Molly, you know, they kind of accepted her into the fold as Torian and those other two girls. And then it was Molly and this new black guy. So, you know what, we're going to have drinks and we're going to have a good time tonight. Now, we don't know exactly how much of a good time they had, but the next morning when Molly wakes up, she's kind of have her clothes half on, half off. She got candy in her bed. She's got alcohol bottles, the little small individual ones, in her bed. And she's got a man's watch in her bed. And she's just sort of like, what the fuck? Whose watch is this? So she puts on some sweats and she goes downstairs. And she sees Torian and the rest of the gang. They sitting at the table having breakfast like, oh, look, the dead has arisen, you know. So she goes over there and she's just like, I found this watch in the hallway, like, you know, really, really far from my room. And I was just wondering, was it either of you guys' watch? And Torian said it's hers. I mean, it's his. And so she was like, oh my God, we didn't do anything. He was like, no. I said, but we did have a good time. So they have video of her. It's like The Hangover, you know, she partying, she drinking, she twerking, she dancing and all of this. I still kind of have a feeling that her and Torian might have done something she don't remember. Like, how did his watch get in your bed? Okay, but Torian said they didn't do anything. She clearly doesn't remember, so I mean, I guess. What do you guys think? There's always been some sort of chemistry between Molly and Torian. Is that something that we might explore later on? I mean, we only got a few episodes left, so we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they do go there. But anyway, the next day, Molly has this presentation, okay, her and Torian. And while Molly is there, her phone is going off. She's getting text message after text message after text message from her brother Curtis. First of all, girl, when you know you have a presentation, that phone should be in your purse, okay? If you can't be there at the hospital and you know that you have this job to do, you can't be two places at once. So put the phone in your purse and go check it as soon as you finish your presentation, because now you're going to get exactly what you got, which was you was distracted the whole time, losing your train of thought, wondering what the text messages was about, and it turned out to be some bullshit, which we knew it was going to be anyway, but Torian had to take over. It just kind of makes you look incompetent. So don't let yourself get distracted, right? So I guess they get through the presentation fine. Torian was there to save the day, but afterwards when they're talking, he was like, well, what's going on with you? Like, I ain't never had to work so hard trying to save you and rescue you so much. And she was just like, yeah, my mom is sick. And he was like, why haven't you said anything? And she was just like, I know, it's stupid. I'm trying to do everything, trying to be at work, trying to be at the hospital, trying to be there for my family, trying to be there for my friends. And he was just like, I mean, it's not stupid. He said, my brother had cancer last year and I did the same thing, but our family has to come first, and this is coming from Torian, who's just been such a hard nose and an asshole the whole time. Who would know that he had this human side to him, and now here him and Molly are actually up here relating at this getaway. Well, not getaway. It's not a getaway, but, for her job or whatever. So, we finally see that Torian is just not always an A-class asshole the whole time. So then I'm like, oh, Molly, don't tell me your man been right up under your nose all this time. All right, so she goes back to her room. Curtis ends up FaceTiming her a little later, and surprise, surprise, your mom is awake now. She can't talk, But Molly is so happy. She tells her mom she loves her, how pretty she looks. You know, should she come home early? And Curtis was like, no, don't worry about it. You know, you coming home tomorrow, we'll just see you tomorrow. Because the mom is still not talking, but just the fact that she's awake, you know, Molly's feeling hopeful. And then right when she hangs up, there's a knock at the door and it's Torian. So she just immediately, filled with emotion, gives him a hug and everything. And then all of a sudden you can feel like the chemistry. There's some tension there. I thought, because the old Molly probably would have seduced his ass, but she didn't go there with him. I was just like, but it's clear that there may be something between Molly and Torian. Something is brewing there. I actually would be there for it. I don't know how they could work together, but it would be nice to see Molly with somebody who's, you know, a little different. So maybe somebody like herself. Maybe Torian might be that one. Now let's jump back to Issa. We get another dream sequence. You know, Issa's out, supposed to be picking up food that she ordered, I guess, and Condola is there. And it's clear that it's a dream because Condola is like, yeah, you know, look at my ring. Me and Lawrence, you know, we got back together. Thank you for throwing him to the side. You know, we together and we engaged. And yes, I make $1 billion a month. And, you know, she's saying all of these things to Issa. And of course, Issa's feeling bad about it. And then she even kicks Issa so that she flies back into the trash bags the same way that she kicked her when they were at the hospital in Issa's other dream. And so yes, it clearly is bothering Issa that Condola and Lawrence are back. And I guess she just wants to know for a fact if them two are really together. Now let's jump over to Nathan. Nathan is at his barbershop. And it's your regular barbershop, your average barbershop, black barbershop. You know, you've got all of your people in there talking shit. You've got your required one ghetto girl that does weaves in there. You've got the one barber who is never on time, who always has a bunch of clients there that's waiting. You know, it's just your classic situation. Everybody's complaining about the barber that hasn't made it there. They're, you know, his clients there. So to make a long story short, I think Nathan tried to help them from just sitting there waiting on him by cutting some of his clients' hair. Okay, they had to go. They didn't want to wait. So when the guy finally comes in, he's got an attitude. Now he feels, I guess he feels like he can do these things because he actually does bring money into the shop. You know, he has a few celebrity clients. He said he was going to bring Wu-Tang in there. Everybody was going to eat. But now that, you know, you want to steal clients and shit, you know, he ain't sharing for nobody. So it's all on him now. And him and Nathan get into a confrontation and he goes off on Nathan, you know, calls him crazy, says that he's bipolar, calls him soft and all of this, and is looking like he want to beat Nathan's ass. And Nathan is just looking at him. I said, Nathan, please don't get into no scrap with that big man. Okay, you are not going to win. And Nathan knew better anyway. But the confrontation clearly upset Nathan. So when he goes home, him and Issa are about to have dinner. You know, she went and picked up the dinner and all of that. So he's telling her that he think he might leave the barbershop, that it ain't working, you know, it's just a lot of drama and it's just not a good fit and all of this. And Issa's listening to him like, okay, here we go again. Him always wanting to run, you know. So she was like, oh, okay, so I tell you I love you and now you want to leave. And he was just like, why does everything have to be about you? Okay, you're not even asking me what happened. You just automatically think it has something to do with you, you know. Well, she's upset that he didn't tell her that he loved her back. And he was like, first of all, Issa, I don't even really know where we stand. He was like, you all over the fucking place, okay? First, you cry in my mouth, you know, upset about a relationship that broke you up with somebody else. And then, you know, you say you want a relationship with me. Then you say you want to take it slow. Then the next thing I know, you telling me you love me. Like, I don't know what exactly you want from me. You too much. You all over the place. And she was just like, well, let's just drop it then. And he was like, fine, let's drop it. And so then I was just like, oh. So that was, you know, and that does happen. It's misunderstandings. You assuming one thing, somebody else is assuming something else, and then it just falls apart like that. But I was just like, Issa is so good at ruining her own relationship. She be in her head too much. God, it's just terrible. I don't know who might be right for Issa, because that girl is always in her head. All right, you guys, that is it. Let me get off of here and go call Amazon and Actually, I got to get back to work. Then we'll call Amazon, you guys. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Until next time, Roxstars, goodbye.